Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday Apocryphal Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything Wednesday Apocryphal and podcast. And boy, do we have a show for you today. Today we are reading the Gospel of Judas.
Yeah, the rest of the Gospel of Judas, right?
Yes. So I think it was 46 through 58. Yeah. There we go. That's what we're doing today.
Okay.
Also, apparently, according to the Grapevine.
Yes.
The Grapevine being Tomer, that Kip is also streaming. Well, you know what, Kip? I challenge you to a duel.
A
streaming duel?
No, just a duel.
A Yu-Gi-Oh duel?
Yes.
It's
of
time
course.
to
duel. Yes, that's what we're going to do. I challenge you to a duel. You're both addressing each other right now. That's awesome. Well, either way. All right. So I'm going to assume that he's agreeing to our Yu-Gi-Oh duel.
Yes.
And I'm going to be doing a lot of training with my buddy Ruben here.
Yes.
Going to get me prepared for this duel.
You'll be running Kaiba's starter deck.
I don't want to run Kaiba's starter deck.
And your opponent can run Yugi's starter deck. Or Joey's starter deck.
I don't want to run the starter deck.
Listen, you're going to run the most obscure deck possible. That's right. Trains. Railgun trains.
I could do trains.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, trains. Nobody sees coming because literally they printed those cards like 5 years to 15 years apart each, and they didn't have any sets that had any synergy, and they were all bad in their sets. But together, 11-star trains is what it's called.
Thank you for the 099. That's a first. That's our first super chat today.
Yeah.
On Wednesdays, yes, our first Wednesday super chat.
True. Yeah.
Thank you.
Satanic Autismo.
Wow.
Give you 100. Yeah, have another 100.
Well, so today we're reading the Gospel of Judas. I have the Gospel of Judas edited by Rodolphe Kasser, Marvin Mayer, and Gregor Worst, translated by Rodolphe Kasser, Marvin Mayer, and Gregor Worst.
That makes
sense.
In
collaboration with Francois Godard. Copyright National Geographic Society, I guess.
Perfect.
Well,
and we got also from the Anchor Yale Bible commentary series, The Gospel of Judas, a new translation with introduction and commentary from David Brockie is how I am choosing to pronounce it today.
Yes. And
we're getting into the more Gnostic stuff.
We are getting to the Q&A portion of the Gospel.
Right.
We've already gotten through the major scenes, but now we're getting direct teachings. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah. So are you prepared at the point
because
where you have to be?
I got it over here. Okay. But yeah, so up until now, it's been a few appearances, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the most notable things that happened so far is the amount of textual breaks that exists in this text.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
Now, while we do have about 90% of the text, that 10% is actually very noticeable.
Well, I've noticed that there's some in there that is longer than what is in here.
Right, yeah.
And so you'll have to keep an eye out for anything interesting happening.
Absolutely.
So why don't I hop into it then?
You got it.
No.
Judas said, "Master, could it be that my seed is under the control of the rulers?"
Yes.
Yeah, teacher, surely my seed does not dominate the rulers, does it?
Jesus answered and said to him, "Come, that I," 2 lines missing, "but that you will grieve much when you see the kingdom and all its generation." Does yours have anything?
Yeah, come and I will speak with you.
Okay.
And then it does have a textual break, but so that you might groan all the more. And the rest of it, yeah. And again, we have race there included, where yours has generation.
Yeah. Well, it's talking about his seed, Judas's.
Right,
So
yeah.
they're talking about his lineage because we've established that they're of different aeons, right? There are different people, different aeons, right? Because in the previous episode, Jesus had been hanging out
Yeah.
with these different peoples.
Oh yeah, he's like and in the midst of the building after textual break, teacher, take me in along with those people. Yeah.
Mm. When he heard this, Judas said to him, "What good is it that I have received it? For you have set me apart for that generation." Jesus answered and said,
Again, you have what more have I received because you have separated me from that race. So whenever his uses generation, this one uses race. And I feel like race in the context of the Gospel of Judas and in our modern nomenclature makes more sense. Like the genealogy of this aeon that they're talking about.
The NASCAR generation?
Yeah, specifically the NASCAR generation.
you could say race or just lineage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Lineage works.
It's more neutral, I think.
That is true. It is
I
more
like
neutral.
lineage or ancestry better.
But I
Yeah.
think that here there's supposed to be more.
Because
of
generation
like
makes it sound like the time of
Right?
Yeah.
that people. Yeah.
Yeah. Which that's not what it is.
Right.
No, I mean.
Jesus answered and said, "You will become the 13th, and you will be cursed by the other generations, and you will come to rule over them. In the last days, they will curse your ascent." We're on 47. "To the holy generation." And now we're in a different subsection where Jesus teaches Judas about cosmology.
So love it.
That's possible.
Yes.
Well, the thing is,
Oh, wait.
I assume that Jesus has access to the Book of the Luminaries.
Yeah, I got it the other way around. I thought Judas was going to tell Jesus some stuff. I'm like, no way.
Oh.
Jesus doesn't not know that already. He knows it already.
Yeah, but the
apparently.
thing is, Jesus is not very good at astronomy, so he needs Judas to teach him.
I don't get that.
Because Judas learned from the
people.
people who learned from the
Watchers.
from the Watchers. Yes, yes, there you go. That's what actually. That's my headcanon.
Yes. Anyways,
Second eon. Once
perhaps
removed.
there will be interesting commentary in this section. Jesus said, "Come, that I may teach you about the secrets no person has ever seen. For there exists a great and boundless realm, whose extent no generation of angels has seen, in which there is a great invisible spirit, which no eye of an angel has ever seen, no thought of the heart has ever comprehended, and it was never called by any name."
Ooh.
Okay, anything interesting about that?
So on those first few there in 47, I mean, aside from, was that 40? Yeah, that was 47. Yeah, aside from, the stuff that's so similar already to the Gnostic text that we've already read, like, for example, there's a lot of similarities between this entire book, actually, and the secret book of John, which we also have read on this show. Yeah, the great, was that 47? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the great and infinite aeon may be the entire spiritual realm that exists above the 360 firmaments rather than an aeon occupied by the great invisible spirit. For the gospel uses the term aeon for all sorts of spaces or realms in which ruling entities exercise dominion. It seems possible that the great and infinite aeon could contain other aeons, which makes sense, honestly, in the Gnostic worldview.
But I think that this is probably a reference directly to the Father, not just the
yeah, like the
pleroma.
main god. I guess it,
Right.
I guess like the one. Here's how I would
well,
put it.
in Gnostic terminology, like when you think of something, like
It is the Father,
it
yeah.
is the Father that creates the first
Everything
thought.
else comes from.
So
from-
when
yeah.
they say no thought of the heart has ever comprehended, and it was never called by any name, then that is the only entity within the Gnostic cosmology that would refer to.
Yeah,
right?
it would be like the essence of being.
Mm-hmm.
And when Christians get to talking about like ousia and stuff, right? They're talking about the substance of the Godhead, but that's essentially kind of what they have going on here. Like you have almost like Brahman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Almost. It's not
like,
quite,
it's
but
like
it is
Brahman,
almost.
but it's missing nothing.
Yeah, there you go. Missing nothing, which means it's exactly like Brahman.
No.
It
Brahman includes nothing, I thought.
It's also
it was a
it's
wordplay.
also very like Taoist, right?
Yeah.
The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao, right?
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a luminous cloud appeared there. He said, "Let an angel come into being as my attendant." A great angel, the enlightened divine self-generated, emerged from the cloud. What is this?
So let's see. Yeah, and a luminous cloud appeared there.
Yeah, after that.
And the invisible spirit, said, and the invisible spirit is added there, said, "Let an angel come into being for my attendance." And a great angel, the self-originate, the God of light, came forth from the cloud.
Yeah, mine says the enlightened divine self-generated.
That's an interesting one.
Is there a commentary?
There should be, right? There's got to be. So we're looking at a self-generated
Hold
one.
on, there's going to be some interesting stuff about this being, so let me get into it before, while you look at that.
Okay, sure.
Because of him, 4 other angels came into being from another cloud, and they became attendants for the angelic self-generated. The self-generated said, now we're on 48, "Let," textual break, "come into being," textual break, and it came into being, textual break.
Yay.
And he created the first luminary to reign over him. Did you find anything about this being?
Yeah, I did. So initially, like, there's the stuff about like no one knowing him and stuff, and that kind of fits in with the idea of God being unknowable that we've seen in the New Testament, for example.
But then we have this angel,
right? Yeah,
that also has it's self-generated and it can create.
Yeah, the self-originate emerges from the luminous cloud when the invisible spirit calls for it to do so. As Mühlberger has observed of other Gnostic works, the term self-originate functions as a title rather than a description. Well, it could be both, but either way. For this immortal, quote, "is not in any meaningful way something self-originate." The coming forth of the self-originate, the God of light, finalizes a set of 3 core immortals: invisible spirit, Barbelo / luminous cloud is how they're going with that. That the luminous cloud is Barbelo, and self-originate. Versions of such a triad appear in other Gnostic works.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
because the cloud is where the light comes forth from, right? So it's the mother of the light here, which Barbelo is the mother father. Yeah. So it's the
it's still mother father son.
Yes, it's still mother father son, but the God of light is the son.
Right. Yeah. And in this way, we're not talking about the sun in the sky sun. We're talking about the sun in the Trinity thing.
But what he immediately does is demonstrate that he has the same creative capacity that the father and the mother do, because he
is the creative capacity.
But
so that's why he would have to be self-originate, because in I guess in earliest Christianity, right, once we have like this idea of the logos, it's tied into Stoicism. And like the Stoics, they believe that the word, right, is the creative power of a god. So in order for God to create anything, he needs the logos. And that early on, that was already tied into the sun. So the idea, I think, that in fact, actually, they're talking about Platonism here. But the idea is that you have the reason it has to be self-originate, quote unquote, is because it is the first thing that must exist for other creation to be created.
Well, it establishes the concept of something being created.
Right, yeah.
Right. But it's not like technically self-originate.
Yeah.
It comes about as a consequence of a command by the Father, which is the great invisible spirit.
Sure.
And then it comes out through the Mother, which is the luminous cloud.
Yes.
Now, what it does immediately is demonstrate that it can also create other angelic attendants, right? And it does so in the same way from different clouds. But this is strange because if we think about the Gnostic cosmology in its original formation, the only beings at this point are the Father and Barbelo, the Mother Father.
Yeah.
Now there are all of a sudden these different clouds. So it's almost like the Mother Father is like a substance that is generally abundant and from which the Father creates the Son. But that's not how Barbelo is presented in the Secret Book of John.
Yeah, it's not quite. Right. And there are other forms of this as well, and they are slightly different. But they all contain that same early triad that can be broken down into Father, Mother, Son in the most basic terms. Like, even if they're not always presented that way, right? And that's kind of the stuff that's pointed out in here. Like, you have one where there's, like, invisible spirit, Barbelo, and the anointed. Also, that can be broken down into more basically Father, Mother, Son. So
the anointed is just the Messiah.
Yeah.
That's what anointing is.
Yeah.
But, okay.
The appearance of 4 angels,
yes,
4 attendants of the angelic self-originate also parallels structural elements in the Secret Book and in Irenaeus' account of the Gnostics. So in the Secret Book, 4 luminaries appear and stand before the self-originate, so too according to Irenaeus, but his first 3 names differ. So it looks like in the Secret Book, the 4 luminaries are Harmazel, Oroyel, Dauthai, and Elethel. And then Irenaeus has Harmogenes, Raguel, and Daoud.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Go to yours in 48.
48?
Text. Yeah.
Okay.
Because mine
I'm at
says,
48, yeah.
let textual break come into being textual break, and it came into being textual break, and he created the first luminary to reign over him, and he said, let angels come into being to serve him, and myriads without number came into being. He said, let an enlightened aeon come into being, and he came into being. He created the second luminary to reign over him, together with the myriad of angels without number to offer service. That's how he created the rest of the enlightened aeons. He made them reign over them, and he created them for myriads of angels without number to assist them. So does yours have anything in those breaks?
There's nothing like
different?
super significant, yeah. And the self-originate said, let textual break come into being, and it happened, textual break, and it established the first luminary to rule over it. And then the rest is basically the same.
Okay.
Yeah, but once again, we have this these luminaries being set in their places in a way.
There's a definite hierarchy, like in Third Enoch.
Right, yeah.
So this is certainly an idea that's around in the Sethian Gnostic realm.
Absolutely.
All right. Adamas was in the first luminous cloud that no angel has ever seen among all those called God.
Among all those called divine. I'm guessing here the issue that they might use the word theos, right? So that's where you have this argument that theos, while it does mean God, used substantively, it can mean divine or a divine thing. That's my guess, at least. Definitely going to see if there is some commentary on that. Yeah, it looks like there is a little bit here. So among all this called divine, it is not certain what this clause modifies. Okay, great. The sentence could mean that no angel has been able to see among all those clouds called divine, or the first cloud of light, or that no angel among all those angels called divine has been able to see the first cloud of light. I incline toward the second option because the work elsewhere used the term divine or God. Oh, they used nute, okay, for personal agents rather than aeons or clouds. The correct interpretation is by no means certain, however. So yeah, they're using it as divine there.
We're going into 49.
What?
And there's some textual breaks here. Maybe yours
Whoa.
has something filling it in.
No, there's also textual breaks in here.
He, textual break. That, textual break.
Right.
The image, textual break. And after the likeness of this angel, he made the incorruptible generation of Seth appear, textual break.
Whoa.
The 12, textual break. The 24, textual break.
It's a textual break.
Yes, but here we have the incorruptible generation of Seth.
Well, you know what isn't incorruptible? The text.
Mhm. He made 72
Jinx.
luminaries appear in the incorruptible generation in accordance with the will of the Spirit. The 72 luminaries themselves made 360 luminaries appear in the incorruptible generation in accordance with the will of the Spirit, that their number should be 5 for each.
Whoa. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I suppose.
The 12 aeons of the 12 luminaries constitute their father, with 6 heavens for each aeon, so that there are 72 heavens for the 72 luminaries.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And for each, we're on 50, of them 5 firmaments. For a total of 360 firmaments, they are given authority and a great host of angels without number for glory and adoration. And after that also virgin spirits for glory and adoration of all the aeons in the heavens and their firmaments.
So there's quite a bit to talk about there.
All right.
Not just the numerology, although we'll
It's
get to that.
broken.
It is broken, unfortunately. So of course we're talking about groups of Gnostics here, and I'm gonna skip. We went over like the Adamas stuff in, I think it was the Secret Book of John, or on the Creation of the World, right? One of those. We went over it.
Right.
But I am gonna get into all the different layers of, the 72 luminaries revealing the 360, right?
All right. You do that.
Yeah, there's oh boy. Yeah, so finally, who revealed the incorruptible race of Seth to the 12 luminaries, and by the will of the Spirit, the 72 luminaries among the incorruptible race? Okay, so they're among the incorruptible race. Once again, the self-originate and Adamas are the likely candidates, although as the god of light that brought the 12 luminaries into being, the self-originate seems probable. Adamas is certainly possible. In the which is this it says the Holy Book, but I think that is actually just a short form for something else. The Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit. That's what that is. Did we read that on the show? I don't know if we did.
I'm not sure.
We read on the Origins of the World.
Mhm.
I don't know if you want to check the Lost Scriptures.
Someone in chat can tell us if we read the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit.
I don't know if
I
it's
don't
about
think we
the 72 virgins, April, but I know it's about the 72 luminaries.
Yeah.
So if you want to fuck some luminaries,
Yeah, they do get virgin spirits here.
oh yeah, that's true. Virgin spirits, that's there as well. So I'm gonna continue on, but you can check for the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit. So I'm gonna continue on though. So in the Holy Book, which our work now begins to parallel in significant ways, Adamas takes the initiative in producing the 4 luminaries and the great Seth by making a request for them. Therefore, it is possible that Adamas plays a role more active than simply existing as an archetype. However, one answers these questions, the immortals the immortals, Adamas, and the incorruptible race of Seth, and possibly Seth, anticipate their earthly counterparts and thus Gnostics themselves. Likewise, the ensuing 72 luminaries and heavens and 360 luminaries provide a transition from the Earth's eternal realms, from the eternal realms core of the 12 luminous aeons to the 360 firmaments that mark the highest level of the cosmos. Commentators have recognized that this section of Jesus' discourse closely parallels sections of Eugnostos the Blessed, preserved in Nag Hammadi scriptures, tractates 3 and 5. Oh, there it is. That's fun. Okay. So if you're able to also look in there, because it is Nag Hammadi, if you're able to find it in there, Eugnostos the Blessed is another possible work that we can look into. But it severely parallels this stuff, apparently. Like, they have it lined up side by side here. So, when we're talking, I'm just trying to find one. Oh, okay. So, yeah, there are a good bit of parallels. Quite a few, actually. So, even just the first section, right? So, and Adamas reveals the incorruptible race of Seth to the 12 luminaries. By the will of the Spirit, he revealed 72 luminaries among the incorruptible race, and by the will of the Spirit, the 72 luminaries, for their part, revealed 360 luminaries, right? So that's the stuff we should be concentrating on for just this first part. Then in Eugnostos the Blessed, then the 12 powers that I previously mentioned consented with one another, and the males appeared 6 by 6, and the females 6 by 6, so that there are 72 powers. As for the 72, each one revealed 5 spiritual ones, that is the 360 powers. The union of them all is the will. So you have the combination of the will and the 72 and 5 and 360.
So these are both in here, but they're both kind of lengthy. I can't read them.
Well, you don't have to read them. I'm just saying, like, these are things that we should consider reading on the show then, I think, after this.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, it's one and then the other.
Great.
It looks like Eugnostos the Blessed is followed by the wisdom of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Which...
Now, how wise can that be?
Well...
Tie your shoes if they have laces.
That in Eugnostos the Blessed, the dialogue provides the structure of the wisdom of Jesus Christ. And the few sections deleted from the text of Eugnostos in the adaptation were apparently removed for doctrinal reasons. So it sounds like the wisdom of Jesus Christ is like an alternative.
Oh, okay.
Eugnostos the Blessed from a different doctrinal perspective. So
although it seems incredibly similar.
That might be interesting. Yeah.
Wesley, we finished reading the whole Bible.
Sorry, April, about the math lesson.
Anyways, why don't I trade it off with you, and you can start from the cosmos, chaos, and the underworld.
All right, here you go.
Because I think you'll enjoy that.
Oh, you know what? I love all those things. I love the cosmos. I love chaos.
Really?
And yes, and I love the underworld.
Yes, the underworld.
Yeah.
Chaos, huh? You
so
like chaos.
Did you get through? Well, we're like halfway through 50, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're handing it off to me, yeah. This is the pages, so it's like. Oh wait, so we're getting a spike in viewers. Did Kip just end his stream? Is that what happened?
I don't know.
Are we getting rated by Kip?
Well,
maybe. But why don't you carry on?
I am going to carry on. All right. So let's talk about the cosmos, chaos, and the underworld.
Yes.
The multitude of those immortals is called the cosmos. That is perdition. By the what are you doing? Chaos. Okay. Chris decided to be chaotic, and he has now put Ho-Oh on our table.
Mm-hmm.
And as you know, there's a mythical object in Japan that was treated just like the Ark of the Covenant, and it has 2 Ho-Ohs on it, so it's very relevant.
You know what? Ho-Oh's pretty great.
It's pretty.
It's the first legendary we see.
You're right.
Yeah.
In the show, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the game.
I know not in the game. In the
What's
show.
the first legendary you see in the game? Is it one of the legendary birds?
I don't
You
remember.
play like red and blue. Ruben.
I don't remember.
Red and
that
blue.
far.
What's the first legendary you encounter?
Probably Zapdos.
Are you sure you don't like briefly encounter Mewtwo in a cutscene or something?
Yeah, I was thinking like you have to include the
cutscene
cutscenes.
in red and blue where you run it. No.
Okay, so there's a part in Fire Island or whatever where you're at this mansion, and there's all those Dittos around, and I swear there was some part where you could. Oh, maybe that's just a glitchy part to get the Mew to turn into.
No,
some other
when
thing, but
you
whatever.
have the Mew glitch
That's the Mew
active, you can run into
okay.
Mew and Mewtwo off the coast of
Yeah,
Symbar.
never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a glitch. All right.
That's
Yes.
not the first encounter you could have.
Right. So that
legitimately.
one would be Zapdos then.
Yeah, probably Zapdos.
Yeah.
I mean, you
feel
don't
like you
have
could
to
run
go
it-
into the
exactly.
power plant.
Yeah, I guess you don't have to.
You
That
could
is
go
true.
to
You-
the-
That's the first one you could catch, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No, you need surf for both of them. So Articuno's on the table too.
I mean,
think
I don't even
unless
remember how to
there's
get
some-
to Articuno.
You
been a
might
while.
need strength or like whirlpool or something.
I don't know.
Either way, I'm going to continue on with the.
Oh right, we're not a Pokemon stream. Let's
The
keep
Right,
going.
Right. Yeah.
literature.
The multitude of those immortals is called the Cosmos. That is perdition. By the Father and the 72 luminaries who are with the self-generated and his 72 aeons. Okay. So the self-generated has 72 aeons with him.
Mhm.
And there are also 72 luminaries. So those are all different
And
classes.
72 heavens.
That'd be a big number of heavens.
Yeah, there are
I mean,
72
that's what they
heavens
said.
that's in there.
Does it say
says
heavens?
So, yeah.
Not. It's in
That's
the
so
like
And the one beforehand.
49. Yeah.
Yeah, and the one beforehand. Oh yeah.
So there's
All right.
each one for one for each luminary.
Man, crazy. With 6 heavens for each aeon, right?
Mhm.
That's a lot.
So there's 72 heavens. So quite a bit there. But definitely a lot more than another text we've read. But either way, in him the first human appeared.
Mhm.
So that would be in the. I just want to, because when it says in him, the first human appeared with his incorruptible powers. So would that be
most translations say this is the place where the first human appeared.
so in the cosmos, sure. But okay, so I guess we're not sure.
But yeah, they're referring to Adamas, the first human being.
Right, yeah.
It says those who name the firmament's world.
So in him would be
corruption.
the multitude of the immortals.
Yes.
So he appeared from among the multitude. Or from the multitude.
The parent should be identified as the 12 aeons of the 12 and the 72 aeons, and then as the 72 heavens for the 72 luminaries. Together, these terms refer to the entire divine realm, over which the self-originate is God of light, and in which Adamas, the first human being, resides with the incorruptible race of Seth, his incorruptible powers. Despite the multiplication of terminology, one can discern a clear distinction between, on the one hand, the purely divine realm of the self-originate, the 12 luminous aeons and the 72 heavens, and on the other, the immortal but corruptible realm of the 360 firmaments.
I
The
just
invisible
want to ask.
bar below exists above either of these
Don't do it.
zones.
Don't do it, Lawrence.
Don't. Okay. I did want to, but I won't.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I want to know where I could get some of.
But you don't even know what it is.
You're right. I don't.
You have no idea.
No.
Anyways, continue on.
Okay.
Oh no.
And the Aeon that appeared with his generation, the Aeon in whom are the cloud of knowledge and the angel. So would that be the angel of knowledge as well? Or just the angel? Like from before, right? Wasn't there an angel that popped up? Just a singular angel that popped up before?
I don't remember. Probably.
An angel called El Aleph.
Oh, yeah. The angel is called... yeah. It's okay, so it's just L textual break, but
Nice.
LLF would make sense if we're comparing it
Yeah,
to...
The restoration
Yeah.
from Van der Vliet in 2006 is very likely, but not certain. A blank space after L and before the lacuna has suggested to some that the name is not simply El, but blank spaces follow the first 2 letters in each of the first 7 lines of the page because of a defect in the manuscript and thus do not indicate word breaks. The close parallel between the passage and that follows this, and
if we're using like the patristic evidence and the evidence from the what was it, the Eugentis, or what was it called? I forget what it was actually called, but the other text that I cited that we had to read at some point in the future. Mm-hmm. That one also gave the list of angels, and I think Alaleth was in one of them. So if it's so closely paralleled that we can reconstruct it, we can assume that.
Yeah, I have a lot of commentary on 51.
Okay, sure.
Are we on 51?
So why don't you...
We're just now getting into 51.
Why don't you read all of 51?
So like Alaleth was like the first word of 51.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you read all of 51 and then I'll...
Okay. So Alaleth, Aeon, textual break. After that, textual break.
Nice.
Said, let 12 angels come into being to rule over chaos and the underworld. So,
yeah, I have a lot to go over.
Right, yeah. So they rule over, I don't know if it's 12 ruling over both chaos and the other world, or it's just 6 and 6. I guess we'll find out.
We'll see.
I'm gonna continue on here. And look, from the cloud there appeared an angel whose face flashed with fire, and whose appearance was defiled with blood. His name was Nebro.
Oh. Hey, Nebro.
Which means rebel.
Or apostate.
Rebel, yeah.
It's apostate here.
Okay. Apostate, okay, so rebel, sure. Others call him Yaldabaoth. So we got, are you, oh, okay. I wasn't sure what he was doing. I just heard I thought you were playing with
I should do it over there. Sorry.
What was it? What's it called? The bubble wrap. I thought you were playing with bubble wrap. That's what it sounded like.
Oh, I guess over the headphones at your distance.
Yes, it's exactly what it sounded like.
But why don't you continue?
I don't know why.
So it means rebel. Others call him Yaldabaoth. Another angel, Saklas, also came from the cloud. So this is okay. So this cloud would be this cloud of knowledge, right? So there's this cloud of knowledge, and we have this angel, which is El something, Elalath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have Yaldabaoth and Saklas. I'm just writing these down.
Right. Which sometimes
from this cloud of
are
knowledge,
just different names of the same being, but here we have
Sure.
two different ones.
Right, yeah. So it also came from the cloud. So Nebro created 6 angels as well as Saklas to be assistants, and these produced 12 angels in the heavens, each with one receiving a portion in the heavens.
So I'm going to read a long, lengthy section. Yeah. In this dense passage, the author presents a characteristically terse account of the origin and hierarchy of the rulers of this cosmos. The presumably material realm of chaos and Hades already exists below the incorruptible realm, and an agent of the higher immortals calls into being angels to preside over it. The use of the term angel for both eternal beings and the lower rulers indicates their shared ontology, and the hierarchical arrangement of the lower angels mimics the arrangement of the eternal aeons. Nonetheless, the leading angel of the lower realm, Nebro, rebels against his superior origin, with the result that the governance that these powers exercise over human beings is not benign. Gnostic works agree that a chaotic realm of materiality existed outside the divine entirety of the immortals, that a craftsman and its assistants brought it into order, and that its current rulers are hostile to human beings. But they differ about how those rulers and their malignant nature came to be. In our passage, that which is designated chaos and Hades appears to designate the material disorder that resulted from or was moved downward by the unfolding of the luminous aeons in the heavens, and that subsequently was cordoned off by the 360 firmaments. In the secret book, according to John, however, there simply existed a realm outside the entirety, one of darkness and ignorance, which the craftsman had to put in order or organize according to the likeness of the original aeon.
So is the idea here then that as these beings are being created, they are somehow revealing the rest of the universe that hasn't been revealed?
No, it's that there is this stuff that was not created within the pleroma.
No, I'm sorry. I guess it was a reference to the... No, okay. So in this section, it seems like you have the partitioning of these things before they exist almost. And then they are like occupied, right? So maybe when it says...
Yeah, well, it's like, hey, this stuff already exists. I'm going to create stuff to rule over it.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
So,
sure.
like colonialism.
Yeah.
Continuing on, the Gnostics worked from the opening of Genesis, in which God introduces the distinction of light and darkness above and below, water and dry land, to an earth that was originally invisible and unformed. So, too, the craftsmen of Plato's Timaeus found the material realm moving in a discordant and disorderly manner, and subsequently led it into order from disorder. Combining Moses and Plato, Philo of Alexandria understood Genesis 1:1-5 to refer to the creation of the incorporeal cosmos.
Yeah.
He attributed the material realm, a substance, ousia, having no beauty of itself, characterized instead as disordered and marked by inconsistency and disharmony. God brought the chaotic material to order, consistency, harmony, and the like. Philo's position on the origin of matter is not clear, and the same can be said of the Gnostics. Valentinus and his followers appear to have addressed the problem more directly, see the Gospel of Truth, and Irenaeus' heresies. Whatever matter's origin, Gnostics depicted the creation of the material realm as the bestowal of order on chaos, even to the lowest extent, Hades. All Gnostics taught that, in contrast to Plato's good craftsman who lacks any envy in Timaeus, the craftsman who gave order to this realm is flawed, ignorant, arrogant, and hostile to the spirit-endowed beings, and bears names like Yaldabaoth and Saklas. They offered at least two explanations for the origin and character of this chief ruler. The better-known version is the error of the Aeon wisdom found in the secret book according to John, with variations in Irenaeus' heresies. And in other works, it is often incorrectly identified with the Gnostic myth. According to...
Right, that's probably the big issue that I find. People are like, oh, there's one Gnostic myth. I'm like, well, no, there's a couple of them. They all share like the basic concept, but they differ in many details.
Yes, but we've gone over the secret book according to John.
Yeah.
Our gospel presents an alternative view. According to this account, Eleleth, an angel from the incorruptible realm, called for a set of 12 angels to come into being to rule over the chaotic material realm. In a manner similar to how wisdom's thought is imperfectly productive, the angel's command came true, but not in a straightforward manner. First appeared two angels, Nebro, also known as the Yaldabaoth, and Saklas. Although Nebro appeared first and seems to be the dominant of the two, he eventually disappears from the narrative, and Saklas takes the lead in ruling over humanity. Nebro and Saklas brought into existence 12 angels who produced other things. Nebro, or Yaldabaoth, corresponds to the invisible spirit, which likewise does not play an active role, while Saklas resembles the engaged self-originate. Imitation of the relationship between the invisible spirit and the self-originate likely motivates the domination of the lower cosmos and its powers by two chief rulers rather than one, which is unusual among Gnostic works and receives more discussion below. And there is a lot, there is a whole lot, but I think that it'll be pretty clear as you continue on.
Phenomenal.
that this is, it's much like Revelation, how it has this Whore of Babylon and this mark, which are their mockeries, or parodies of.
Finding a word for it is sometimes difficult.
Yeah, but here there are correspondences, right?
Yeah.
And here the Saklas or Yaldabaoth stuff corresponds with the divine stuff that's going on. It's really like the Hermetic stuff, like as above, so below, here with the Pleroma and then the Hades and Chaos. Anyways, why don't you continue on, because I think I said enough about this.
Yeah. So continuing on here. So the 12 rulers spoke with the 12 angels. So the 12 rulers would be the 12 that are taking over chaos into the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 12 angels, in this case, are the ones that, in this case, Saklas and Yaldabaoth created, or Nebro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The 12 rulers.
And the fiery face denotes Nebro as being or related to the God of Israel, to whom the Bible and Enochic tradition attribute a flaming appearance, and specifically a fiery face.
Just to be clear.
And the Lord speaks to Moses from a fire of a flame in a bush.
Yeah, but...
And he led the people by a pillar of fire.
Yes, we also have the attestation of angels being basically made entirely of fire.
Yeah, but those would be
Yahweh's
products
a volcano
of
god.
Yahweh, which would be products of Yaldabaoth or Nebro in this.
Remember that, Lawrence? Remember that meme? Yahweh's a volcano god?
That Nebro is supposed to be the god of the Bible.
Yeah, that is true. So the 12 rulers spoke with the 12 angels. Let each of you, now we're on to 52, let each of you textual break.
Yay.
Yep. And let them textual break. Generation, one lost line.
Oh, wow.
Angels.
So these are all different.
I would love to know what is actually being said here.
Surely.
Yeah. It's probably a list, more or less. There are lists in other Gnostic works in similar sections, but they're all different. Usually there's Harmas, usually there's Kalia or Galaia. There's also Sabaoth or Adonaios, Iabel or Iobel, Iath or Hauth.
No, so the thing is, okay, so there is a list of angels here.
Yeah.
Which I have not gotten to yet. But yeah,
but mine doesn't have anything for the missing portion.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah.
So the first is Seth, who is called Christ. Interesting.
Yes.
He would be anointed. Yeah, he would be the anointed. That is fascinating. The second is Harmathoth, who is textual break.
So in other works, Apocalypse of John has different manuscripts. Instead of Seth, they name Hauth, Eoth, or Ethoth. And instead of Harmathoth, they name Harmas, Hermas, or Harmas. Hermas is probably the most interesting one because it's very close to Hermes.
Well, it's also Hermas.
Yeah.
Like in the shepherd.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes.
The Eye of Fire.
The third is Galila. The fourth...
Which is, in the other text, Kalila or Kalila Umbri.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I think I remember that Umbri one. The fourth is Yobel.
Which is always Yobel or Iabel.
Okay. The fifth is Adonaios, which
is
Adonai.
either Adonaios or Sabaoth.
Or Sabaoth.
Yes.
Okay.
Or, no, wait. Yes, Sabaoth is an alternative to Adonaios in both one version of the Apocalypse of John and one version...
Which we did read.
...of the Gospel of E.G.
Oh, wait, if we're talking about the Apocalypse of John, that's just Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, the Apocalypse of John, the secret book, according to John.
Oh, okay. If it's
The
secret-
Apocryphon of John.
the Apocryphon of John. Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah. No, not Revelation. Talking about the secret book.
Right. Okay, that'd make more sense there. All right.
But they probably...
So I mean, I feel like the reconstruction here might be kind of easy, considering. Okay, so we're talking about ruling over, well, what it seems like, yeah, because the next section is these are the 5 who ruled over the underworld, and first of all over chaos. So it's interesting that only 5 are apportioned to rule over the underworld, even though we just had 12 potentially assigned to it.
Mhm.
But the thing is, it also says, yeah, and first of all, over chaos. So both, I guess. It seems, however, that we have here a hierarchy, right?
Mhm.
So if these 12 rulers are saying that, then these angels that they're talking to these 12 angels, are the creation of either Saklas or Yaldabaoth, which are the 12 angels that are being spoken to.
Yes, and they have an anointed one.
So they include, so if we're talking about Yaldabaoth, right? Or Nebro, sorry, whichever one, it does give both names.
Yeah.
Then like we have the links between like, right, Seth and Adonias. Which
keep
can
in
also be Adonai,
mind
right?
that
Like
Seth
I feel like we're
is Seth actually in the text, because here it's
Well, it does-
listed as broken.
it says here that only part of the word is missing.
And we know that in the Apocryphon of John, the secret book of John, they named Eoth. If the
Oh, sure.
last phoneme is the only thing that is listed there, it could be Eoth instead of Seth.
True, yeah. But either way, we have like them being broken down. But either way, he created 6. They each created 6, but only 5 are being chosen. We're creating a hierarchy.
Mhm.
And those are the ones that rule over the underworld and first of all over chaos. And I feel like the reconstruction of that first part of line 50 of page 52 might be the easiest one, right? Like, for example, let each of you like maybe like take control and let them rule a generation where and here are the angels or something like that.
Mhm.
Like I feel like that might be, well, the exact wording is not something that we know. I feel like the idea might be pretty simple there.
Yeah, but continue.
All right, we'll do. So on the creation of humanity. Then Saklas said to his angels, "Let us create a human being after the likeness and after the image." So Saklas, who
Yes.
is not Yaldabaoth in this text, or not Nebro in this text.
No.
Interesting. Okay. So Saklas is, and then they fashioned Adam and his wife Eve, who is called in the cloud Zoe. So that, of course, meaning life.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had this before
We have.
in several pieces.
That was on the creation of the world, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. For by this name all the generations seek the man, and each of them calls the woman by these names. Now Sakla did not command, textual break, except textual break, the generations, a textual break, this textual break, and the potentially ruler, that's a corrupted word, said to Adam, "You shall live long and prosper." And no, I'm sorry, it says with your children.
So there's yeah,
A lot of issues.
Thanks to the
Those things are pretty
damaged
clustered.
character, it's impossible to know how, if at all, Jesus transitions from the creation of Adam and Eve to Sakla's limitation of their lifespan. The phrase "Saklas did not command" echoes Genesis 2:16, which suggests that our author may be referring to the command not to eat from the tree. But later, Jesus says that God caused gnosis to be brought to Adam and those with him. That sentence is more likely the author's way of addressing that theme. Instead, the survival of a term that means produce, beget, or offspring, and probably genea in the plural in the races, suggests that the author may have in mind God's instruction to the first human beings to increase, multiply, and fill the earth. In other words, Soklos did not in fact command Adam and Eve to beget, except for or unless something. A limitation on human life production would lead reasonably to a limitation on the length of a human life, which,
All right.
of course, we get into.
I just I just chatted in Kip's chat. I made sure he knew that I challenged him to a duel, but then I also challenged him to send everybody over once he's done. If we're still going, let's hope we are. Anyways, continuing on here. Yeah, this text is broken, unfortunately.
In some parts.
Yeah. I would really like to know what exactly is being said here, because I feel like it's actually kind of important. But either way,
Lawrence, we have to stop the show.
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Because, and also,
Yes.
and then.
Absolutely. So,
anyways, continue.
Yeah, so this is Soklos doing all this stuff. By the way, he did not command something, and then something else happened. So then this next section is Judas asks about the destiny of Adam and humanity.
So why don't I take that so that it seems like a separate
did you want to...
section, right?
I mean, yeah, it is a separate section. Yeah. I am not entirely sure. I'm just kind of reading here. I don't even think I read that much.
Did you not read that much?
I don't think so.
We usually hand it off.
Yeah, no, yeah. I did the this and this. I did the luminaries too. I did Adamus and the luminaries.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
I think we read about the same.
All right, whatever.
All right.
Sure, I can hand it over if you want.
It'll make it easier for me because we're going to like short sections and then the
Yeah,
end,
that is true.
right? So now we have which part?
Well, we're still on
Destiny
53.
of Adam and
Yes.
humanity.
Yes.
Okay. Jesus said to Judas, "What is the long duration of time that the humans will live?" Jesus said, "Why are you wondering about this? That Adam with his generation has lived his span of life in the place where he has received his kingdom with longevity with his ruler."
Wow.
Are we
Jesus,
still on 52 or 53?
This is 53.
Judas said to Jesus, "Does the human spirit die?"
I just want to say that was very different. So Jesus said, "Why are you amazed? For Adam received his time measured out, along with his race, in the place where he received his kingdom measured out, along with his ruler." So obviously tying in, God to the whole picture of a human lifespan. Although it does seem like the passage indicates that the gospel uses kingdom much as it does aeon to refer to a variety of domains. Right, yeah, variety of domains is one way to put it.
Mhm.
Like, because he's saying like race here could mean a few things. It could mean just humans, or it could mean like this specific section of humans, right? Doesn't have to be all humans.
Right.
So yeah, there are some questions in how cryptic Jesus is being about this.
Right. Judas said to Jesus, "Does the human spirit die?" Jesus said, "This is why God ordered Michael to give the spirits of the people to them as a loan, so that they might offer service. But the great one...
a loan!
Mm-hmm. But the great one ordered Gabriel to grant spirits to the great generation with no ruler over it. That is the spirit and the soul.
Ooh.
Therefore, the rest of the souls, one line missing. We're in 54.
Damn it! Okay.
Important stuff. Always
This could
the
be
important
exciting.
stuff.
Light, nearly 2 lines missing.
Okay, well, hold on.
Around, textual break. Let, textual break. Spirit, that is within you to dwell in this flesh among the generation of angels.
Okay. So
Is
before,
that all 54?
No.
Oh, that'd be funny though.
anyways, just to kind of hop back into the, does the human spirit die sort of thing.
Sure.
So there are a few things. So first of all, it's a loan, which is really funny to me. And that was, that's how God commanded Michael. So Michael gave out this loan of a spirit to everyone. But the Great One commanded Gabriel to give the spirit to the great undominated race. So this would, in this text, be the Sethians, perhaps, right? So if it is,
They have a spirit and a soul. For the rest of the souls, then there's one line missing. And then there's a bunch of broken stuff.
yeah, the spirit along with the soul. Right. So
So I
these
guess
ones,
the idea is that there's these NPCs who don't have souls.
essentially, yeah, but they have spirits
Yeah.
because that's the thing
They're
that's probably
animated.
they are animated.
They move
yes.
around.
That needs to be explained.
But they don't have souls.
Right. And the thing is, the way that this is, it looks like they are using pneuma, right? Which is soul, and then psuke is the other.
The idea is that the principle that animates the body does end because Judas is asking, does the human spirit die?
Right, yeah.
And he's like, well, yes, that dies.
That's spirit,
but
yes.
the soul that is within the incorruptible race of Seth, that doesn't die.
What I find really interesting about this is I'm going to bring this up with some Muslim friends.
Okay.
Because who is like their big angel in their tradition?
Gabriel?
Yeah, Gabriel.
Yes.
So if Gabriel was to give a certain great race a spirit and a soul, yeah, maybe I'm going to ask them if they've read the Gospel of Judas and really like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me continue on here before you break international law. But God caused knowledge to be given to Adam and those with him, so that the kings of chaos in the underworld might not lord it over them. That would be a great band name, Kings of Chaos in the Underworld.
That is pretty good, yeah. It does say Hades, but yes, that works.
Judas said to Jesus, so what will those generations do? Jesus said, truly I say to you, for all of them the stars bring matters to completion. When Saklas completes the span of time assigned for him, their first star will appear and the generations, and they will finish what they said they would do. Then they will fornicate in my name and slay their children, 55. Slay their children, and they will, textual break, and about 6.5 lines missing.
Oh my God.
My name, and he will, textual break, your star over the 13th aeon.
Yeah, it looks like this is a very corrupted text.
Very corrupted, but the idea is that people will do corrupted things in his name.
Yeah.
And after that, Jesus laughed. Judas said, Master, why are you laughing at me? Jesus answered and said, I'm not laughing at you, but at the error of the stars, because these 6 stars wander about with these 5 combatants, and they all will be destroyed along with their creatures.
So what happened to the last one then? If there are 12 of these special luminaries, and they have 5, or there's 12 of these special luminaries, and then you have a certain subsection of 6 of them in ruling over part of it. Then you have the 5 combatants, which were also listed, right? Where's this? Is there a last one?
Oh, Judas is the 13th daimon, remember?
Right, yeah.
And so he would be over the 13th aeon, or within the 13th aeon.
Oh, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
It's the only relation to 13 that I can think of in the text.
Yeah. Although, something funny about this that reminded me here. about, Jesus just laughing at him.
Mhm.
You remember how in The Shepherd of Hermas,
Mhm.
the angel kept calling him an idiot?
Why are you so
That's
dumb?
so stupid.
I can't
Ugh.
believe I have to explain these things to you. Anyways, when she's young and she's sitting, it's because she's powerful.
Right.
And when she's old and she's sitting, it's because she's weak.
And it's the
So
chair.
Or the
sitting
other way around.
means either being powerful or weak.
That's amazing. That's classic fortune telling right there.
Mm-hmm.
You could really make a good business out of that.
Yep. We're in another subsection. Jesus speaks of those who are baptized and Judas's betrayal.
Oh, but sorry, the tradition there that we just talked about before, not with the combatants, but the section about the last passage about what will those races do. He's saying that they're going to be led into sin and stuff like that, right? The tradition also appears in Clement's excerpts from Theodotus. This is why a strange and new star arose, bringing to an end the old astral order and shining with a new, not worldly light, tracing new and salvific courses, just like the Lord himself, the guide of humanity, the one who descends to earth in order to transfer those who have faith in the anointed Christ from fate into his forethought. It does seem to share the tradition along with other Gnostic gospels, like the proto-gospel of James, although that one's hard to characterize as Gnostic.
All right. Judas said to Jesus, "Look, what will those who have been baptized in your name do?" And Jesus said, "Truly, I say to you, this baptism," 56, textual break,
Amazing.
my name, about 9 lines missing.
That's
To me. Truly, I say to you, Judas, those who offer sacrifices to Saklas,
9 lines missing. That's crazy.
textual break, God, 3 lines missing, everything that is evil. So
Wow. Okay.
the
So
idea is that
chapter.
the Saklas worshippers are doing things. The people baptized in Jesus' name in the future, right?
Mhm.
They're doing horrible things, and they are the kind of people who offer sacrifices to Saklas, and they represent everything that's evil.
right, which is interesting that the name of this I guess the. Well, it's not that the name of the antagonist is different. It's that it's like almost kind of different because one of the names is different. So like,
Who
Nebros-
was it? Was it Irenaeus who had that whole thing about like, now they say that we Christians eat our children and that we do all of these.
right? I forget if it was Irenaeus or somebody else.
But maybe
These are the ones that
these are
eat
the
their
one-
children.
maybe we could posit that some of this missing material is stuff like that, because that is where they would talk about it.
I suppose, but I feel like more would be. Yeah, I guess it is true that this is where they would talk about it, but
I don't know
I
where
feel
else
like they would be more.
because they
If they're talking about
well, and against
eating and
heresies,
sacrificing
he
children.
references these kinds of things.
True, yeah.
That Gnostics believe, and so surely the Gospel of Judas is around by then, right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah,
And
it would have to be.
and so, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so
Maybe-
there's a few possible ways to reconstruct it, right? So this baptism in my name, Geno reconstructs 56:1 as this baptism that they have received in my name. This restoration is plausible, even probable. However, 56:2 through 4, with the exception of the last 3 letters on line 4, is impossible to reconstruct. That's a pain in the ass. Yeah, so whole section there just missing. But they're going to destroy the entire race of Adam, the earthly man.
But you will exceed all of them, for you will sacrifice the man that clothes me. Already your horn has been raised, your wrath has been kindled, your star has shone brightly, and your heart has... Textual break, 57. Truly...
What a bummer.
Truly... Textual break. Your last textual break.
Truly, I say to you, is probably the reconstruction there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, your final textual break.
Become about 2.5 lines missing.
Amazing.
Grieve about 2 lines missing. The ruler, since he will be destroyed, and then the image of the great generation of Adam will be exalted, for prior to heaven, earth, and the angels, that generation which is from the eternal realms exists. Look, you have been told everything. Lift up your eyes and look to the cloud and the light within it, and the stars surrounding it. The star that leads the way is your star. Judas lifted up his eyes and saw the luminous cloud, and he entered it. Those standing on the ground heard a voice coming from the cloud saying, 58.
So he's being like accepted here.
Yeah.
But why?
He's
All
entering
these missing lines are making it hard to tell why.
Another aeon
Right,
through his gnosis. He's now able to project, I guess, his thoughts through the luminous clouds.
Or he saw the luminous cloud and he entered it. He entered
enters
into
it,
the luminous cloud.
which is the opposite of what the... Oh, I see. So he's undoing his lineage and generation and being reborn unto Barbelo, right?
That would be something, yes. But also ascension stories.
Yes.
Like going like Elijah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Elijah.
So that's kind of interesting, right? Although the ascension scene in Acts 1:9-12 also includes a cloud that removes Jesus from the disciples' sight, there are more certain echoes of the transfiguration. The cloud Jesus enters here. Okay. So this is Jesus.
Oh, this is Jesus going. So Jesus is like, look at what I'm about to do.
Okay, so Jesus is doing it. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was way more interesting because they just said he, right?
Right.
He entered it.
So
I
what
thought that we were
he's
talking about
doing
Judas.
is he's like, after I've told you all this, check this out. It's definitely true. I can do this and go there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what he does.
So he enters luminous cloud, just as the cloud that oversaw Jesus, Moses, and Elijah is a luminous cloud.
Mm-hmm.
In our passage, Judas looked up, as do the disciples in Mark 9:8. That Judas no longer sees. Jesus is closer to the phrasing in Matthew 17:8 and Mark 9:8 than to that in Acts 1:9.
Yes. Now, there's going to be something that they
Man,
say.
that would have been so cool. I was hoping for Judas to be like ascended
Nah.
Yeah.
by the end of it. No.
Judas gets ticked over every time.
But we're in 58.
He reveals, Jesus reveals to Judas, like, all the stuff that's going to happen with this other race and, so I guess some other...
But I'm only telling you
Gnostic
because you're a
treatises.
throwaway character.
I mean, essentially.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, right? Yeah.
So everyone hears this voice coming from the clouds saying, textual break,
Nice.
great generation, textual break, image, about 5 lines missing.
Oh, my God.
So this information coming from this cloud really, like, you have to know. It's missing.
Yeah.
If you don't have the gnosis.
Our
then-
only way to even know what this would possibly be is to compare it to other texts that would be like it.
Yeah, some other Gnostic stuff. It's very Gnostic.
It would have to be. And like we can compare, some of the other texts that we're going to read next, right? Did you already put the thing in here
Those
for
5
me?
and 6 liner missings though are pretty hard. I'd be troubled to guess we could fill anything there.
Right, yeah.
Their high priest murmured because he had gone to the guest room for his prayer. But some scribes were watching carefully in order to arrest him during the prayer, for they were afraid of the people, since he was regarded by all as a prophet. They approached Judas and asked him, "What are you doing here? You're Jesus' disciple." Judas answered them as they wished, and he received some money and handed him over to them. And that's the end. That's the end of the Gospel of Judas.
Wow.
After being delivered all of this information in private.
Yep.
So first, the entire structure of the Gospel of Judas. First, what happens is there's this ministry of Jesus with the apostles, and Judas stands apart from the apostles because in each of the episodes that occurs, Judas is the only one who like knows anything, and he's like the only one who thinks. So then you have a series of teachings which are privately delivered from Jesus to Judas about the other world, about the pleroma and the other aeon, and then Jesus demonstrates that it's true physically, and afterwards Judas is like, yeah, okay, I'll do what you want me to do, and I will turn you over to these people and betray you.
No, that must have been what was said.
Yeah.
It had to be. Otherwise, this wouldn't make sense. Like, yeah, we know about how the story went, like in the Gospels, and the readers would also know how the story went in the Gospels. But you wouldn't. I guess you wouldn't write it this like way. That. Yeah, you'd write it in a way that like ties it all together. Like, surely that's what was said. Is to, hey, go and hand me over because
it's probably something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's probably like, and you will betray me, and this is how you will do it, and it is by this means that I will like ascend to this higher realm, like, and you'll earn your place as the 13th diamond, and what have you.
Yeah.
Right. So, Gospel of Judas, I'm gonna rate it like it's like an 8. Like, if it weren't so broken, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would be a lot. See, that for that, I'm probably going to give it like a 7 because it lost so much. Well, not even like a 7, maybe even a 6 because it lost so much stuff.
But you can pause.
I give it a 10 because it lost so much stuff.
It might be a 10. Like, but we wouldn't know. We just wouldn't know.
I like the Gospel of Judas. It's very interesting. It gives like a solid presentation of a Gnostic cosmology. It's I mean, there's not much that you can say about it. It justifies Judas's actions, which obviously many Christians are going to be
good.
in opposition
very good,
to,
April.
Though I don't understand what the Christians would take issue with Judas for, given the fact that the resurrection narrative is like fundamental to Christianity, and so without it, it wouldn't be nearly as much of a religion as it is.
Right, yeah. Essentially, that's probably the core thing of the Gospel of Judas is that you would not be saved without Judas's betrayal. So, like, he did something that's good.
And then it demonstrates that Judas's action is going according to a plan.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that plan is unknown in the canon Gospels, because they are a bunch of Saklas worshippers.
Yes, those Saklas worshippers. Man, they don't get it.
No, I agree.
Good thing that the Gospel of Judas got it.
If we take the Gnostic cosmology, the modern Christians are Saklas worshippers.
Obviously, yes.
Yes. But that is the Gospel of Judas. I think next time.
Yeah, so I do have it. I do have a bookmark here. So the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, which will have similarities to this, but I feel like because of that, we were talking about before, father, mother, child, right? So they actually give all the different ways that it's been presented.
Yes.
Because it is essentially the same thing. But yeah, there is this Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit. Oh my God. What the fuck?
I would like to read for you all a line from the Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit.
This has been a line from the Holy Book of the
Holy Book of the Great Invisible Spirit, chapter 44.
Yep. That's
I mean,
in there.
it's literally
Just the letters.
Probably can't get, but you
Wow,
can
tiny,
see.
yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll just take a little picture of it and post it into
Yeah, put
memes.
it on the Discord.
Do I put it into memes?
So,
Yeah, sure.
Put it in religious stuff.
Religious stuff.
Religion stuff. But yeah, that's the Gospel of Judas. Fun book. We got good translations. That's nice.
We did, yeah. Although sometimes, they differed. Sure, that is to be you expect that out of translations, but sometimes we would have like a way more exposition in one than the other. Maybe one was just adding in more stuff, or maybe the other one was very critical. So it is. I'm not sure.
So Patreon, Discord, Amazon wishlist. You know all the stuff.
Yeah, you do know all this stuff.
Check it out in the description. Look, if you've been watching us for 202 episodes of our Apocryphal podcast,
Like, make it 500 if you've watched all of our streams.
if you watched all our streams, you're probably
If you
over
watched,
500.
if you watched 500 of our streams, you're actually insane.
I had to be here for it.
Right, but you don't count.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We also had to be here for
you're
it.
not a viewer.
I was viewing it live. Like your only live viewer.
You don't see what they see. as
Yes,
they
I
see
do.
it
I see what they see
from their
and
house.
Yeah,
and
watch us
more.
grow up. True.
See that and that and that and that and that and that and that.
Yeah, thanks for pointing to a whole bunch of places that the audience could actually see.
Yeah,
Well, at least-
we grew up. We're old now.
Yeah.
We're old men. A kid called me Mr. Rubin
That's
the other day.
hilarious.
I'm done. That's
You're old as
everything.
fuck,
We're-
and we are done with the stream for
Damn
today.
kids, get off my lawn.
Damn straight. And we will
See
see
ya
you
on
on Wednesday.